we're gonna be doing a tier list on the most toxic agents for Valorant. So the tier list starts off as most toxic, and you need to insta dodge. Like, you need to insta dodge if this character is in this right here. Semi-toxic is like, you know, like kind of toxic, but like, you know, it's not like toxic to where you need to quit the game or leave or anything. Light banter is like, you know, they mess around with you, but they're not gonna throw your game. They're not gonna like totally out you. And then the quiet players, like someone who's like silent, doesn't do anything. And then wholesome is like the people that are like super nice in your games all the time. They don't ever mess with you. They're like 100% serious. They're there to play the game and get done. You know what I'm saying? They're just doing that, just playing the game wholesomely. And the first agent we have up first is Breach. As you guys probably saw yesterday, I had the most toxic Breach ever, and that's why I'm putting him in the most toxic insta dodge shit ever. No more. I'm not playing with another Breach. I am insta dodging every time. Breach is the worst character ever. F the Breach mains, okay? Literally worst. Just don't play with a Breach, okay? Literally insta dodge. Never play with a Breach. Brimstone is up next. I would say that they just give you light banter. Brimstone would never like really be toxic to you. Sometimes they're kind of funny and they just like, you know, they'll joke around, or you know, they won't like completely out you or be toxic. They'll just be like, you know, joking around. But yeah, so I would say light banter would be pretty funny. I mean, they can joke around. They're pretty chill most of the time. They get in, just play their smoke, and they're gone. You know what I'm saying? Up next is Cypher players. Now, it's really interesting with Cypher because Cypher, there's either A, the Cypher is so toxic that he's just playing the role because he has to, or it's B, he's a very wholesome person and they just want to play the game and they just want to be a good player as Cypher. Yeah, I would say it's almost between wholesome or like semi-toxic. It just really depends on the player. So in between, I'd probably go like quiet, in my opinion. I feel like they're calculated. They don't really talk a lot. I would say probably the quiet player. I mean, yeah, there's no really in between. We already know where this one's going. We already know where this one's going. We already know where that one's going. There's no, I don't even have to explain. If you get a jet on your team and you know what I'm talking about, you know that they're just instantly. Just don't. I mean, there are the occasional really good jets that are quiet and like cool to you, but 95% of the time, maybe even 99% of the time, they are instantly toxic, etc. to you. And you know, it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? It's literally not worth it. You know, like it's not even worth it to play with them, because then it's like you get in the game and either really confident, they do really well and they helped out your team. Like I got a really good jet yesterday, or they are literally in your game just throwing your elo, toxic. They have like the I'm the god complex. They are just ridiculous in comp. There's no point to play with a jet. But next up is a KJ player. Now I would say KJ players are kind of like in the light banter tier. Some KJs are really solid and they don't say anything. They join the game, they're chilling out, but they can joke. They can have funny jokes. I feel like a lot of KJ mains can joke around with you, but also not make it in a way where it's toxic. Moving on to Omen. Now Omen mains are a little interesting, right? Omen mains can be very toxic, as we know. I mean, Omen mains are so full of themselves because they got that new damn flash ability, and now their teleport moves faster, so they think they're the hot shit. Then it's that small percentage of the Omens that think they're a goddamn duelist. No, you're not a duelist. Stay as a goddamn smoke, okay? That's it. The overly confident Omen players, I would say, is in the semi-toxic. The people that don't really care to play Omen and play them every once in a while are probably in the light banter area, but I would say semi-toxic for sure. Now Phoenix mains. Okay, Phoenix mains are a whole nother level. They got the buff and they feel like they are the best duelists in the category. They're like a step below insta dodge. But yeah, overall I would say that Phoenix is probably semi-toxic. You know, I mean, you can still get along with a Phoenix, and a good Phoenix is actually pretty decent. Up next is Raze mains. Now Raze mains can be really wholesome, or they can be really toxic. I would almost say she's in the light banter / semi-toxic tier, just because the Raze mains always like double satchel in and die. I would just say probably up here in the semi-toxic / maybe even insta dodge. But above a Phoenix, I don't think so. I would say right there is probably pretty good. Now we all know that Reyna is not good. 95% of the time, it's the one at the bottom of the leaderboard. Literally insta dodge if you have a Reyna. No, just don't even play the game. Not even worth it. Your odds are better off just dodging. Now Sage mains, I feel like are a lot of times are wholesome. Wholesome wise, I would say Sage is in the wholesome tier, just because I see a lot of people are, every time I encounter a Sage, they're really never ever toxic to me. Sky mains are interesting interesting because sometimes they can be toxic, but I would say 9 times out of 10 they're more just motivated on winning the game. Sky is probably in the light banter tier, maybe below Brimstone. Ever since Fade came out, all the Sova mains are salty because they're not the initiator anymore. They're angry. No one plays Sova as much as they play Fade nowadays. If you get a Fade insta-lock Sova and they do shit on your team and you tell them that, they're just gonna go off because they're like, how come our Fade isn't doing better? So a lot of times I would just say that they're gonna be in like the quiet player until someone says something. They're gonna be up here in the semi-toxic. So I would say I would put them in quiet tier just to put them there. We all know that Viper mains can be really toxic. They ult every once in a while, but a lot of times they're not that toxic compared to, like, you know, say a Phoenix main or a Omen main. So I would almost say they're almost in the wholesome tier. Every time I get a Viper in game, I think they just like they're silent unless like I ask them something specifically. So I never really see them toxic. But yes, there are the one-offs. How many of you guys have went into a comp game and it had an insta-lock Yoru who didn't talk through your game, and then as soon as the game ended, screamed all the racial slurs? So I would say they're almost like the semi-toxic, right? If not even insta-dodge, because I feel like you should dodge if you have Yoru, because a lot of times they throw. The player base of Astra mains are very calm, collected. They're very calculated in every move they do, so they're not really focused on the team chat. They're just trying to make the best game possible out of what they're doing. So I feel like they're almost in the wholesome tier as well, if not the quiet tier. Now, as a KO main slash Fade main myself, I can even say I'm semi-toxic as well. But every time that I have a KO main, why are you picking KO over Fade? Why are you doing this? But no, but I think overall the KOs are pretty toxic. Chamber mains. Chamber is so good in the comp, you can't really insta dodge, but dude, they are at the top of this tier. A lot of these chamber mains are so ego-fulled. They have their entire brain just, if I don't get this op kill, I'm done playing this game. I'm throwing. Like, literally, that's how it is. I don't know. Overall, I would say he's the most toxic out of this entire list. You can't really insta dodge because you really need a chamber nowadays because of how good his kit is. Now, Neon players are either A, very wholesome, or B, they just don't talk the entire game. A, they think they got godlike movement from Warzone and they just think that they can slide cancel on the entire map, or they are the people that are just like calm, collected. They play with their team, they do well, and then they, like, you know, get exit frags and stuff like that. So I would say it's almost in this light banter tier because they can joke around. They can literally play like a slide canceling Warzone player and they can actually get some frags sometimes. I feel like Fade players are like getting more toxic as we speak, but as of right now, I would say they're in the light banter tier right below KJ. If you enjoyed that video, watch this one next, and don't forget to follow the Twitch down below. See you there.
I'm headshotted.
He's flying through the air. What the